David Goggins. You hear the name and you immediately picture these impossible physical and mental feats. But his whole philosophy, it really presents a paradox, almost like a split screen in your mind. On one side, you've got this blueprint for an absolutely unbreakable will. And on the other, well, it looks a lot like a manual for self-torture. So today, we're going to figure out which is which.
So for anyone who's somehow missed it, David Goggins is basically a force of nature. I mean, this is the only guy in the entire U.S. Armed Forces to finish SEAL training, Army Ranger School, and Air Force Tactical Air Controller training. And as if that's not enough, he's also an elite ultramarathon runner who's pretty much made a career out of demolishing what we all think of as human limits. You know, this single quote right here is the key that unlocks his entire worldview. Goggins is convinced that most of us are just trapped, completely willingly, in this cozy little fog of denial. Denial about our own weaknesses, but also about our true potential. And his solution? A dose of brutal, unfiltered honesty.
And that brings us right to the heart of the problem. I mean, when you hear these stories about him running on broken bones, you have to ask, where's the line? When does building resilience just become, well, breaking yourself for no reason? So today, we are stepping right in front of that mirror to look at both reflections, the one that builds you up and the one that tears you down.
Okay, first, let's look at that dark reflection. This is the path of self-destruction, and it's where Goggins' message gets seriously twisted. This is the side of the screen where inspiration just completely collapses into this jagged landscape of self-punishment.
So here's the absolute crucial point. People get this completely backward. The popular idea is that to get tough, you have to basically annihilate yourself, that the pain itself is the whole point. But that's not it at all. The real message is about using radical self-honesty as the foundation to build on, not as a sledgehammer to tear yourself apart.
And look, you see a quote like this, totally raw and with zero context, and it is so easy to get the wrong idea. It just sounds like a command to go worship at the altar of agony, to believe that progress is only measured in scars and broken pieces. And the consequences of getting this wrong? They're brutal. This isn't building strength, it's just self-destruction. It's wrapping yourself up in these chains of toxic self-criticism, romanticizing suffering until the very ground beneath you starts to crumble. This path doesn't give you an armored mind. It just leaves you completely broken in a wasteland of burnout and injury.
All right, now let's flip that screen. Let's look at the true reflection. This isn't about destruction at all. This is where we see that steady, disciplined light of genuine self-mastery.
This, right here, is the fundamental shift. Goggins isn't asking you to become a masochist. He's challenging you to stop making excuses, to stop living on a diet of comfortable lies, and to finally face the unfiltered truth of who you are versus who you could be. And the absolute core of this is what he calls the calloused mind. It's not about loving pain. It's about forging armor from it. Think about it. Every hardship, every failure you push through, it isn't a crack in your foundation. No, it's another plate of armor, another layer that makes your inner light shine brighter against the storm.
So, how do you even start forging this armor? Well, his first challenge is the accountability mirror. The idea is simple, but actually doing it, man, it's anything but easy. You stand in front of a mirror and confront yourself with zero ego. You write down every insecurity, every goal, every failure on little notes, and you stick them right on the glass, forcing yourself to own that reality every single day.
Okay, the language is jarring, I get it. And that is completely intentional. Goggins argues that softening the truth, saying things like, oh, I should probably lose a few pounds, is just another form of denial. He believes it's that raw, undeniable reality that actually sparks the fire for real change. You have to own the truth before you can ever hope to change it. This brutal honesty then leads right into his 40% rule. The whole idea is that when your mind is screaming at you, telling you you're done, that you have absolutely nothing left in the tank, you've actually only used about 40% of your real capability. Your brain has this built-in safety switch designed for comfort, and real growth only begins when you learn to push right past it.
But okay, how do you find the strength to smash through that 40% wall? That's where the cookie jar comes in. And no, it has nothing to do with actual cookies. It's a mental stockpile of every single obstacle you've ever overcome, every success you've ever earned. So when you're in those darkest moments of pain and doubt, you reach into that jar and you pull out a reminder of what you're truly capable of.
So, we've stared at both reflections in the mirror, right? The crumbling path of self-destruction and the disciplined path of self-mastery. What's the final takeaway here? How do you actually build this armored mind for yourself? And this, right here, might be the most important point of the whole thing. The goal is not to become a David Goggins clone.
It's to take his process, that unflinching self-assessment, and apply it to your life, to forge your own armor. You're not supposed to copy his highlight reel. You're supposed to build your own engine for resilience.
So the real blueprint for strength, it looks like this. You start with radical honesty in your own accountability mirror. You use that truth to finally confront the things you've been avoiding. You build your discipline slowly, deliberately. And maybe most important of all, you refuse to let your past failures define your future.
So, in the end, the paradox isn't really in the book. It's in the person reading it. Goggins' work is just a high-contrast mirror. It can show you a crumbling landscape of self-destruction, completely consumed by shadows. Or it can reflect back the image of a person pushing through their own storm, glowing with disciplined strength. You've seen both sides of the screen. The only question left is, which one are you going to see in your mirror?